So really, if you're going to be someone's astrologer, you're going to see them over years. And if you're just doing the transits and just doing that, you're missing a lot of fun. You're missing the real intimacy. You have to take these things in consideration, what you're going on inwardly against the background of what's going outwardly, to put this all together. This is our next level, putting these things all together. Because there's so much information by progressions, you can go into it as needed to reinforce something. Someone's having bad dreams, someone's got bad habits, something's going on that's bugging them and it's affecting their feelings, their security. You got an autistic kid and you want to see how to improve their confidence. You line them up with the progressed moon and you work on that. You start building habits that way and it starts building up the confidence. Amazing what can be done. Okay, so this is January 21st, 61, Aquarius with Aries moon, okay, and a Capricorn rising. Okay, so we have this, the moon in Aries, impulsive, it's going to be active, wants to do things, don't hold me down, don't just challenge me, I'm going to prove things. Okay, that's her moon. But her sun's in Aquarius, they're both below the horizon. But rising, this is my lifestyle, she's not a follower. She's a doer, all that in the first house. The sun in the first house. So her confidence is for herself. So she comes up, she has the first full moon early in her life. Then she's going to have the new moon eclipse in 1985, December. That was a big impression. That's the first, and that's a deep inward impression. But sometimes if you're not clued into your spiritual side at the time, those can be outer difficult things that come in that force you to resolve something inwardly. So you get the new moon, whether you are open to it, working with it, or whether you're fighting it, it's still going to come in and make that impression. If it's negative, you're going to be reacting to it for years and keep coming back around working it. So sometimes you having to go back and include some things that goes on as you go forward. But that eclipse, it's really, you got the new moon and the sun and moon. The sun is there for 2 years, 1 year either side of it. The moon, it's a month or two each side of it. So you got 2 years where it has its effect, and 3 or 4 months where it's really acute. Within that, then you want to analyze and look at what happened in that life, 1984 to 1986. What's your story? What was going on? What happened? What's the deepest thing happened to you? How did that impress you? Is that still affecting you now? What's happened? So you're asking that question. Then it built up till the full moon, 15 years later, was another eclipse in 2001. But the full moon, the new moon, the sun and moon, the past and the future are together and you're working on it. The full moon, they're opposite each other and you're seeing, oh, that's my confidence, that's where my security is. How come I'm not getting the security is opposite? There's an awareness that comes, but often among contradictions. But then from 2001, the next new moon was in 2015. Now this is much more positive. This is not as intense, but it's still it's a new moon in the second house, and it's still the charge of that was the most recent one. So she's just passed the new one. The next new moon doesn't come till 2044. So, and the full moon is not till 2030. So she's in this new moon phase, and it's moving down in her chart, moving down into, it's going to go into Aries. Whoa, going to come back to the moon, conjunct the moon, and then it's going to move into the third house of knowledge and teaching and expressing oneself. And going down all the while to deeper motivation. It hit the deepest motivation point. No, she's already done this. It's already gone through this stage to 2018, hit the IC. And so she's working on the phase of, on this fourth house, fifth house, what's security, how it's home, where am I going? She's working on this phase. Now, so the moon's over here. The sun has moved along in, okay, let's just get the moon phase here. So I just go along here. Yes, so here we go. Here's the moon phase, the waxing crescent moon phase. 3 or 4 of us in the class have this. So I read that one out earlier. So the waxing crescent moon phase, and while this is going, that happened in 2018, October, and it lasts until September 2022. And during this phase, the moon conjuncted the IC, or opposed to midheaven. in 2018 March. By August 2018, it's opposing Neptune, so there's some confusion and doubt or questioning about how I'm living, what am I doing. Then it squared Mercury, challenging the way she's thinking. Then by this past August, it squared Uranus. It started to shake up and break up the old ways and the old habits and brought in something new. Then it goes into the 5th house in 2026, implies much more creative energy. It goes into Gemini, adds a lot more independence to it. So you can see these stages going through this waxing crescent phase. So I concentrate on that first, but then when you got this chart, this is not a chart you look at it quickly. This is a chart you sit down, you have a coffee, you sit down, you sit, or have a tea, you stand, you look at it, and you make some notes. You read, oh, there's this, and you take time getting to organize. It takes a while to get used to it. Oh, the progressed sun's going from here down to the IC across a lifetime. That's someone who's becoming more and more the student and more aware of deeper things across their lifetime. Her ego is still strong. It's going to be in the 1st house. But her Jupiter's conjunct Saturn, which is fortunate, so she's going to accomplish something for herself at some point. But when it comes to fitting out in the world, Neptune's on the midheaven. It doesn't exactly fit out there. So that's just, you're always working this back to the natal chart. So with her moon phase and the steps going through, you can see the exact aspects it brings, throws in the extra material between this. You can see the directions you're going with her sun, more studying, more learning, more teaching, more writing. And you can see, like right now, the progressed moon, it was, I don't have the dates here, it was 21, okay, 2018. So it's the progressed moon's over here it's near towards the last part of Taurus right now. Where are we here? We have it. It goes into Gemini in 2020. Yeah, so it's working through this phase. It's finished with the opposition to the Neptune. But that's confusion with home and family and stuff. But well, how do you pray to get rid of your confusions or your temptations or whatever? Or how do you not feel dependent or confused? Or how do you start to see what you have to get clear of? That could be letting go of kids. That could be letting go of exes, or just having to put up with exes, or whatever. So, but it's profoundly, that moon is down affecting her home and her sense of security and family. And her sense, it's not about what she's doing in the world. She might have a dedication, what she'd like to do, but it's how she's going to live and how she'll teach and express these things to other people as she goes along. And as she's done this, she studied astrology a long time before. You know, like after the sun went into the 1st house, probably when the moon was going over her sun, she started her first times of studying with astrology. She's just come back at this level with the progressions, just in time to hit the IC, to just like it confirms the depth of where she is and where she's going. Okay. Number 10. Okay, I'll go down. Okay, 10 about first. We're gonna go look at we're gonna get the phase of the moon is the waxing gibbous phase moon. It's just before the opposition, before the full moon. It's the waxing gibbous phase. It's in that last phase up to the full moon. Okay, and during that time, the moon in the Taurus into the 8th house, opposed Neptune, opposed Mars, confusion. That's last March, December, March. And then nothing so much now. It squares the nodes. And I put the nodes in with the moon because with the moon, the nodes are the eclipse points. They're still sensitive points. So they're not functions like that, they're still sensitive points. So it's worth putting to see if something's there. You'd expect something with family coming up, still that. And then by May 20th of 2020, it squares Uranus, so it's going to be a big change around home and lifestyle at that point. And then it goes into Gemini, and it's going to be the emphasis to be more independent. And it moves in the 9th house and independent with their own understanding. So it goes on. So we're just taking a piece. You can go before this, you can go after it, you can go on with it, you can get this package together. So we've got the phase of the moon to guide you. You have the specific steps inside of it, starting point. Okay. Now the overview, what this does, knowing what the new moons are, knowing that someone's going to have their deep inner mystical moments of 30 years. You don't want to waste it because it's going to be 30 years before something like this comes back again. So as we're older, we really want to tune into this. We may not get another one. So, and the same with the full moons are an enlightenment. They complete things. You're understanding things. And you're seeing all the different sides of things. You're opening up in a great way. and you have to see what's completed and what can't be done anymore, so you can see that. And so these are the two highlighted spiritual times, the new moons and the full moons. New moons are inner ritual, full moons are outer rituals. Like, so right now, her moon starts in the 6th house, builds up the first 14 years of her life is above the horizon. You know, so when she's young, she's very prominent and confident and maybe bossy, a bit authoritative, maybe not, but it's this is him. Yeah, okay. So it built up a status. This is then, but it hits the moon hit the ascendant in 1976. Wow, that moon hitting the moon, hitting the ascendant, that would create a very profound feeling of security. What's secure about emotions? Who am I love? Where do I belong? Who's my identity? And this is all in the Libra. It would focus on love and relationships, or art, or talent, or what's appreciating. And then you have to see what happened those times, how it tapped it, and whether it was negative or positive. You have to turn it around and say, well, what did I gain out of it? What did I see out of that? But it was a really profound factor around emotions and love. That moon would come along, it would conjunct the natal sun, but it comes up to the new moon was in 1979. That new moon in 1979 is quite profound. It's a new moon in 79, and it conjuncted the Mars right on his Mars-Neptune. So that deep impression came in the middle of his dreams of what he wanted to do, or what he should do, what I should do for work, what I shouldn't do. That's 1979. Deep impression. See, as soon as you know what it is, then you start saying, oh, wow, then it probably means this or that. Look how you see how it's connected. And then you're trying to see, that's the outside story. The inside story, what made you feel secure? It was opening up. It was accentuating that Mars-Neptune. Which is not practical. It's more of an escape thing, more of an evasive thing. Oh, maybe I got to travel. Maybe I really need to get out of here. Maybe I need to change things. Those things come in. But he's going through it deeply. Other people around him would not be going through the same eclipse, progressed eclipse in this. So he would be more deeply impressed than a lot of the other people around him going through the same thing. Then he came to the full moon, 1993. The next new moon came in 2008, August 30th. That's in his 3rd house of knowledge, of learning. Now, I can't remember when he first started studying with me. He went through all my classes once, a lot of years ago by, and he just come back in to top of things off in this class. So that's after this, that explains the 3rd house. This was a deep impression, 2008, August 30th, and really July, August. July, August, all of September. Anything in that period was tied into this new moon and these deep impressions, and impressing what he knew and what he didn't know, what he had to think of, where he was going. So this is part of the challenge. Okay.